Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. John Deitch, Medical Director of Sports Medicine for WellSpan Health and Head Team Physician for the York Revolution. On behalf of all the members of our WellSpan and York Revolution family, I'd like to welcome you to the relaunch of our Well Connected virtual series. Thank you all for your grace, support, and patience as we adjusted our online security measures and our registration process to make this programming as safe and easy to use as possible. You know, we're pumped to connect with you today. Our teams miss working with you. We miss watching your games. But even through this global pandemic, we want you to know that our team is here for you. And we want to help you stay healthy and focused through this extended off season. We also want to help you prepare for the seasons to come. And that's why we developed our Well Connected series. You know, today our focus is on nutrition. And it's my privilege to introduce today's speaker, Beth Conway. Beth is a clinical dietitian who provides outpatient medical nutrition therapy for our team. She has a Master's of Science degree and is a licensed dietitian and nutritionist. Beth has worked for WellSpan now for 17 years and has worked in her field for 26. She's currently working out of our location at the Queensgate Shopping Center here in York. Now, Beth does phenomenal work and really enjoys working with student athletes and helping them realize the impact great nutrition has on their performance. Now, by background, Beth grew up in New York City, and she's a huge Penn State fan and Penn State mom. She enjoys running and has done 2 full marathons and over 15 halves. She even plans vacations or runcations around her races to destinations like Corning, New York, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Rehoboth, Delaware. Now, before Beth gets started, I want to address just a few housekeeping items today. Number 1, our goal is to make these sessions interactive. So we will have a Q&A at the end of Beth's presentation. Now you can participate by submitting questions. So at the bottom center of your screen, you're going to see a Q&A icon. You can click on that icon and you can type your question and then submit them at any time throughout Beth's presentation, or you can wait till the end. Now second, if you haven't already done so, please mute your computer at this time. Also know that for security purposes, our host has the capability to mute or unmute the participants as needed. So thank you for your attention today. Thank you for joining us. And Beth, if you're ready, our audience is all yours.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for having me. So I thought I would talk a little bit about nutrition today, and really our focus has been all of us just sort of trying to get through all of this COVID chaos. And I don't know if any of you can recognize yourselves maybe in this picture. I think sometimes I've looked like this, but this might seem a little bit familiar to you, maybe feeling a little bit lazy since we haven't been going out, trying to get through schoolwork as we're coming to the end of the school year, and really not really anywhere to go. So this might look somewhat familiar. Or maybe this might be you, where you're eating all of the food and you're bored. And you open the fridge several times during the course of the day. Or maybe you've been baking and tried banana bread 7 different ways. But in any event, we still have to remember that you're all athletes. And athletes need fuel. And we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of fuel you need, why it's important, and what some things are that you can focus on now as you're waiting for your sports to get started back up again. As I mentioned, as an athlete, you need fuel. And why is that? There's several reasons. Number 1, if you're fueling your body and providing yourself with enough nutrition, you're going to run faster. You're going to be able to speed up to take over an opponent. Mentally, you're going to be a lot more sharp and be able to concentrate better. Not only are you going to go into the game or the competition strong, but you're going to finish strong as well. Ideally, you can fuel up with real food to get that long-lasting energy. And yes, fast food and candy does have its place and it does taste good. But if you're relying on this for fuel as you're going into an event, it's energy that's not going to last very, very long. We know that if you're not fueling your body adequately, poor nutrition can lead to several things as well. You might feel very tired, or you might even get sick a lot if this is extended. You might feel that you don't recover very well. You might get sore, your muscles stay sore for several days after a really hard workout. Maybe you're getting too low in a specific kind of vitamin, and that's causing you to be more tired. Maybe it's impacting your strength or muscle mass because you're not eating as you should. Again, mentally, do you have the energy to win? Both mentally and physically. And we do know that your skills suffer when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, and when you're tired. So how do we fuel? Now, I can sit here for a long time talking about this, and I know you have a workout to do, so I thought I'd just sum it up very briefly. We know that when we're fueling, balance is really key. And I emphasize carbohydrates, proteins, and fats as that balance throughout the course of the day to make sure you're getting all the nutrition that you need. When we think about carbohydrates, we need to think about this as our primary energy source. Things like bread, pasta, crackers, cereal, oatmeal, potatoes, fruit, and rice are all going to be examples of carbohydrates. Protein is important as well. That can help that energy you're getting from the carbs last a little bit longer, but it's also important for muscle and strength. When I say protein, people tend to think about things like meats and fish, but we also know protein is found in other foods such as nuts and nut butter, eggs, beans and lentils, soy, dairy, and seeds like pumpkin or sunflower seeds. Fats are also important. Things like avocados, fatty fish. Maybe you've thrown some flax seeds into a smoothie, or some peanut butter or nuts, or olive oil. All those are examples of fats that help to round out that diet so that you can have your fuel. The one thing that's important though is not all of our needs are created equal. It's very individual. So while I might have a 13-year-old female who's playing lacrosse, their needs are going to be a lot different than the 18-year-old male who's playing football. And so everyone has to fuel very individually. I thought this was going to be a great example for you to really get an idea of what you might need, because when you're actively in your sport and it's right in season, you're going to be training hard. And the way you're eating then is going to be different than if you're not in season, or maybe what you're doing now, because there's not a lot of practices and things like that going on, obviously, at this point. This is an example of a plate of a very hard training day. And as you can see, again, balance is there. Much of the plate includes those carbohydrates that I mentioned before. We still have our lean proteins like our meats and so forth, along with some different vegetables. If it's more of a moderate training, maybe you're not quite in season or you don't have a big event coming up, you can see how the plate shifts a little bit. So we're still getting some balance, but the grains maybe are a little bit smaller. The proteins are about the same, and the veggies are a little bit bigger on your plate. An easy day performance plate might look something like this, where that balance is shifted. It might be off season, and we might be looking for more color as half of our plate versus that very large amount of carb when we're in season in that intense time. But protein generally stays stable to make sure that you're getting that for your muscles and helps keep your energy lasting a little bit longer. For every meal or snack idea that I have listed here, you probably would be able to come up with about 5 or 6 more. But I thought this was a nice example to show some of the balance that I mentioned before, because many of the different examples that I have here include things like carbohydrates, for example, in the brown rice bowl. There's things like protein, for example, the eggs with cheese. And there's even a little bit of fat, for example, the low-fat milk, or maybe a little bit in the yogurt smoothie or the dip. Again, all of these examples are going to be great options for a meal or a snack, depending on when you're eating it prior to your activity. If it's going to be more like an hour to 4 hours before, you might want to do a larger meal like that rice bowl. But if it's something that's a little bit closer, you might want to do something a little bit smaller. So you're thinking about right now, maybe you're doing some workouts on your own. Maybe you're doing a little bit of what that cat and dog were doing that I was showing at the beginning of at my talk. But what can you really focus on right now as far as nutrition is concerned? As best as you can, try to keep a routine. Try not to make drastic changes right now, but it's okay to make some changes, and I'm going to show you what some of those could be. Along with that routine, try to stay as consistent as you can with meals throughout the course of the day. Your nutrition needs are different than everyone else's, so you as a teen are going to have different needs than a child or an adult. So you do want to try to make sure that you're getting your fuel throughout the course of the day. It's a lot easier to do it that way than it is to get in one big giant meal. Some of you might be thinking to yourself, well, you know, since I haven't had to get up, I've just been kind of sleeping in a little bit, maybe skipping out on breakfast. But as you'll see later, maybe that's something to kind of start thinking about now. The other thing you can do is try to keep it balanced. Really look down at your plate and focus and say, am I getting those carbohydrates and proteins and fats? And really, what is the quality of what I'm getting? I like to use this as an example, and some of you are driving and some of you may not, but you may have heard people talk about your body being like a car. So a car needs gas to go or fuel to make it run. And sometimes we can compare our bodies to just that. Food is our fuel that makes our body go. But it's not just having the fuel, it's about having the right kind of fuel. And that's where quality is important. So if I try to put diesel, which is the kind of gas that you might put into a very large semi truck, into a small car, that's not going to work out very well. And the same thing holds true if I'm not trying to fuel my body with the right kind of fuel for my event, I'm probably not going to be able to perform very well. Some other things you can really focus on now is watch your drinks. You know, it's a little bit easy to kind of just grab something from the fridge, not really pay attention, but really be aware of your soda and sweetened drinks. Probably don't really need that extra sugar, but if you're drinking a lot of soda, that's going to have phosphorus in it, which can have an impact on your bones over the long term. So really try to pay attention to that. Watch your juice. Doesn't mean you can't have a little bit of juice, but again, quality matters. If I have an apple, I'm going to get a lot more bang for my buck nutrition-wise than if I just have some apple juice. So be aware of how much you're drinking. I do want to remind you to try to avoid energy drinks. There's a lot of items and ingredients in there that are not regulated. So the label may say one thing, but what might be in there might say another. And that is something that may not necessarily be healthy for you. And what about caffeine? You might be someone who, you know, I know Starbucks still had their drive-through lanes open along with some other coffee shops, and you might be slipping through there here and there over the past month or two. But if you're having caffeine and you're depending on it for your energy boost, you may really need to think about your routine and how you're actually fueling your body. Having a small cup or two of coffee might be reasonable, but if you're drinking a lot more than that, that could be concerning. So what can you do right now? Now is the time to practice. So if you were someone who were not a breakfast eater before, maybe you'd roll out of bed to grab the bus, or you really don't want to grab anything, or you're too lazy to want to try to make something, you have time to do that now. So practice being a breakfast eater. It doesn't always have to be breakfast food, but maybe try out some different foods that might work for you when you first get up. And breakfast doesn't have to be I roll out of bed straight to the kitchen. It can be something that's a little bit later, but maybe just trying to get into that habit. Now is also the time maybe to try a new recipe. Maybe it's been suggested to you to try an energy bite or make a homemade granola bar, or maybe even a smoothie. Now is the time to try something like that. You have the time to experiment. And maybe you're not usually a water drinker. Some people are able to take a water bottle into school with them and have it all day long. Some people just really never got into the habit because they're worrying about having to leave the classroom and maybe running off to the bathroom. But if you're not usually a water drinker before, we know that fluid and hydration is very essential. It's very important for you as an athlete. So now's the time to really maybe get in practice of drinking more water instead of the soda or the juices. And now is also the time that you can practice fueling before, during, and after exercise. So maybe you're getting in some workouts on your own and you've heard, hey, I really should have something before I exercise, or hey, I know recovery and nutrition is important after to help fuel my muscles, and you've never really done anything like that before. Now's the time to do that because you can try different foods and see what works best for you and what your stomach might tolerate. Think about what's in the house. There's probably staples that you have at home. I know some items have been more difficult than others to get in the grocery stores the past month or two, but it's not crazy to think that you might have things like pasta, maybe some frozen vegetables that you can mix together. Or as I mentioned before, a new recipe, trying some smoothies, some different things that you can throw in there. Maybe making a marinade on a meat. Get a little bit of fancy and you can go out and throw something on the grill since the weather's getting a little bit warmer. Or some sort of homemade granola or an energy bite. Things like oatmeal or chocolate chips or dried fruit, honey, maple syrup. Those are all items that you might have on hand right now in the fridge or the pantry that you can practice with. You know, the bottom line is nutrition is really going to be key. It's something that is important for you as an athlete to get your best performance. And you think about it, when you are playing a sport, you practice. And the more you practice, the way you practice different skills, that's going to help you become a better athlete. We really need to practice nutrition as well. And we can't put that aside and think it's just going to happen. The other thing that's important with nutrition is that when you are involved in a sport, you have your equipment. Maybe if you're a runner, you have your shoes. If you're a football player, you have your helmet and all of your pads and so forth. And we have to kind of think about food and nutrition as another part of equipment that's going to help you get the best performance that you can. So I know right now things have been frustrating. Maybe you're not able to get out as often as you have been able to. Things have been on a standstill. And like I said, right now this is the best time for you to work on your nutrition game and really experiment and try some different things so that when you are back up and running and you are able to participate in practices and tournaments and games, you have an edge on someone else who didn't take advantage. Thanks a lot for having me. I can take some questions now.
Beth, thank you very much. That was a great talk. We do have some questions coming in from the audience today. The first one is, are bananas healthy? Can you tell us a little bit about bananas?
Okay. Well, a banana is a fruit, which is an example of a carbohydrate. And as I said before, carbohydrates are going to be a good source of energy. And a banana is actually a fairly common item that people may use prior to activity or prior to their exercise. So I think it's something that would be a nice option to try. It's also a nice source of potassium. And we know potassium is an electrolyte that you may lose during sweat or heavy exercise. So it is going to be something that would be worth a try. Plus it tastes great with peanut butter. So might be a nice little recovery option as well.
I have a question, Beth. I know you touched on it briefly, but what's your opinion on fasting? And then kind of part two of that is someone that wants to do a morning workout first thing in the morning, kind of tips for that.
Mm-hmm. So as far as a morning workout or fasting, I think one thing to remember is when I'm working with athletes who are teens, I think they have very different needs than adults. So teens are growing. So I don't generally suggest that they do fasting as far as what their nutrition needs are and getting their fuel for their activity, as well as the morning exercise. I do generally encourage them to have something prior to exercise.
Just another question for you, Beth. Is Gatorade healthier than soda?
So Gatorade is a sports drink, and the purpose of Gatorade is to replace any kind of fluid, electrolyte such as sodium, or fuel such as carbohydrates that I mentioned before when you have been exercising for more than 60 to 90 minutes. So the short answer to your question is that Gatorade would be healthier than soda if you're using it for this purpose that it's intended. If you're going to be exercising for more than 60 to 90 minutes, there is a place for something like Gatorade to replace those things that you've lost. If you're planning to use Gatorade as just a regular drink, then honestly, it's probably at about the same variable as the soda would be. Otherwise, if it's a shorter time frame that you're exercising, I would stick with water.
Thank you very much. Another question coming in, and that is, what would you consider the quote unquote healthiest food?
The healthiest food. Well, not one food gives us everything that we need. That's why I encourage balance and variety. So I would say that I can kind of make that into a trick question, and I've used this answer before, but if we're going to talk about it being one item, you can call a smoothie a healthy food because you can put whatever you want into it.
I think that's a great option. Because you're an awesome runner, a marathoner, can you tell us what would go into a Beth Conway smoothie? Give us a little recipe that you like to use before your training runs.
A nice smoothie would be, let's see, fruit. So sometimes I'd put a frozen banana in there, maybe some strawberries, some Greek yogurt for a little bit of calcium, vitamin D, and some extra protein. I would put some milk in there as well. Depending on how close it might be to the activity, I might use a lower fat milk because high fat sometimes can be problematic as far as your stomach's concerned and trying to go out for a run. If I want to get a little bit fancy and it's afterwards, maybe I can throw some peanut butter in there or some ground flax. And ice to make it nice and cold.
Outstanding. Thank you very much. Hey, do you mind spending a minute or so just talking about the importance of hydration? We're in summertime right now. Can you talk to us a little bit on managing fluids before and during practices?
So it is important to hydrate. As I said, water is going to be your best bet. Ideally, if you know that you're going into an activity or if you're going into exercise, trying to aim for about 16 to 24 ounces. And it doesn't mean you're going to chug it right before you go in. We're talking about an hour or so, give or take, before that. And the 16 ounces is about the size of a typical bottle of water if you're going to buy the water in a container. Ideally, you're trying to hydrate while you're exercising as well. In an ideal world, it would be about 15 to 20 minutes. You're trying to get at least 2 to 4 ounces in. And 2 to 4 ounces would be, you know, a couple gulps from a water bottle or from like a little Dixie cup. It is important too, especially if you're someone who's sweating or if it's a hot day, to make sure that you're rehydrating afterwards. You don't want to just finish your workout and then just go home and start playing around on your phone. You want to make sure you're getting plenty of fluid afterwards as well, because we want to make sure that you're not sweating too much or getting too dehydrated. You want to replace that.
Beth, I can't thank you enough for your expertise and for sharing it with all of us today. Athletes on the line have taken something home. I know I have.
Great.
Yeah. Can you tell the audience too, if someone wants to reach out to you or for services through our nutrition team at WellSpan, how would they go about doing that?
Well, there's 2 ways to do that. They can call 717-851-1702, and I can give them more information on how to go about that. Or they can go on the website and look up nutrition services and find more information that way. And I do provide individual counseling as well as talk to teams. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, I'd be happy to help out.
Thank you again so much.
Okay, great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next part of our program is our workout for the day. So it's time for me to hand things over to a super teammate of ours, Zach Miller. He's an exercise physiologist who is going to take us through a total body workout. Let's do it, Zach.
Thanks for that intro there, Dr. Deitch. And thank you, Beth. That was obviously some good information. And going right into a workout, obviously a crucial part to increasing our performance. So with that being said, we'll get right to the workout. I'll do a little introduction once I start the video, but basically all of our workouts are going to start with 8 to 10 minute movement prep, dynamic warm up, and certainly we'll always end with a good cool down. And then we're going to do a good strengthening portion. And then today we got some plyometrics to work with too. So only equipment you will need is a chair or a bench or something to do some tricep dips on. And then once we get to the plyometric circuit, we're going to do, you can use a pair of shoes or anything you can use to represent some cones. So a pair of shoes works great. That's what we use in the video. And with that being said, we'll get started with the workout.
Hi, I'm Trey Pridgeon. I'm a senior at York Suburban High School. I'm planning on attending Randolph-Macon College next fall to continue my baseball career and either major in biology or chemistry. I tore my ACL in 2017, I believe, and with the help of WellSpan, I made a 6-month recovery and I'm back playing like I was before. Thank you.
Hi everyone, Zach Miller from WellSpan Sports Medicine. We got Trey Pridgeon here.
Today we're going to go through a 30-minute exercise routine that you need little to no equipment that you can do at home while we're dealing with the repercussions of COVID-19 and at the same time trying to stay active, trying to stay fit, and getting ourselves ready for our upcoming season. So before we get into it, I want to give you a little update about the workout. First, we're going to start with a little bit of movement prep, dynamic warm-up, 8 to 10 minutes, crucial part to every exercise program. Then we're going to go into a modified Tabata style workout. So 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of rest. We're going 8 rounds, 8 different exercises for 8 minutes. After that's over, we're going to get 3 minutes of rest in between there to let the muscles recover and grab a drink. But then we're going to get right back into it with another Tabata style workout. This is going to be our plyometric workout. So we're going 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, and we got that for 5 minutes. After that, we'll take a minute break. We're going to do a cool down, another crucial part to every exercise routine, and we'll go from there. How you feeling?
Good.
Ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna start with the dynamic warm-up, movement prep, just to get the blood flowing, muscles activated, get ourselves ready for some activity. So 30 seconds of jumping jacks, let's do it. Go, get those hands up. There we go. Good, keep it going. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and good. All right, we're going up to some single leg bridges. So hopping down on the ground. One leg down, let's extend this other leg straight out, about even with the other knee. We're gonna press up through that right leg. Good, and control it back down. We're going 10 reps. There's 2, you count for me. 3. Good, so are you doing these right foot, mostly flat on the ground, pressing through the heel a little bit, get those hips nice and high and extended, core staying tight. Good. Push the other leg. Good. 3. Good. Squeeze those glutes at the top. No need to rush through it. Controlling the movement the whole time. Good. All right, let's flip over to our hands and knees. We're going to a cat-cow here. So, hands directly underneath the shoulders. We got our knees underneath the hips. And we're starting the core engaged in a good position here. Good, we're gonna arch the back down. Gaze is gonna come up towards the ceiling. And then we're gonna extend up, feeling like a string is attached to the spine. Extending up, good. And focus on your breathing here, nice and controlled. Control it coming down. We're just gonna hold it 2 to 3 seconds in each position. Good, extend coming up, perfect. And we get 3 more good ones, just like that. Good job, form looks good. Keep that spine moving. All right, from here we're gonna stay in that same position and we're going into some thoracic rotation. So maybe walk the hands out a little bit more, let yourself come forward, good. And we're going thoracic rotation where one arm's gonna come up, extend towards the ceiling, eye's gonna follow that hand, and then we're gonna thread the needle coming through the other way. Feel that good stretch through the mid-back. Good. We're alternating here, we're going 5 each side. If you're feeling the stretch in the shoulder, you're going too much with the arms. We really want to feel the stretch in the mid-back here. Got one more each way. Good. All right, now let's face the camera. We're going from the kneeling position here. We're gonna kick one leg out to the side. Good, so we're almost in like a side lunge position here. From this position, you should be feeling a good stretch on your inner groin here, those adductors. And from here, you're just gonna rock straight back, sitting those hips back, and coming back up nice and tall. Go, we're doing 5 each side. Good. Feel that good stretch when you come up. Throw those hips forward, up nice and tall. One more. Good job. We'll switch sides. Same things on opposite side. Or one more. Kind of a good stretch. Good. All right, from here, we're sitting back onto our butt. We're going to 90-90 rocks. So let's start with your feet facing forward, just and then bend those knees up. So from this position, let's go shoulder width apart. Good. From here, we're going to go into the rocks. This is a tough one, but great for the hip mobility. So we'll watch Trey here. He's going to rock into it. He's going to try and turn and face me. Good. And then he's going to rock back the other way. And think about trying to keep that spine nice and vertical. That's tough when your hips are tight, but that's why it's such a good exercise and good warm-up. There you go. Good. If you have to use your hands on the ground, that's completely okay. Looking good. We're going one more each way. This time we're going to hold it for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Switch that other way. Get that spine nice and vertical, up tall. Fight it. 3, 2, 1. Good job. All right. There's our movement prep. We're going to go right into our dynamic warm-up. So let's get the shoulders moving. We're just going 10 arm circles. We're going 10 forward and then 10 backwards. And then for these, the next ones, make sure you give yourself a little bit of room just to move around. You don't need a big space, just a little bit of room. We're going the toe walks. So this one, you look a little silly doing it, but such a good one to stretch out some of their lower leg muscles. Good, same thing coming back. Now we're going on our heels. Controlling it the whole time. Good, now we got our Frankenstein walks. Opposite arm, opposite leg. Stride it out. Feel that good hamstring stretch. Good, same thing coming back. Good, another hamstring one, hamstring scoops, one of my favorite hamstring exercise. You go walk it out, scoop it down, good. When you step out, heel just slightly, or heel up, foot just slightly in front, big scoop down. Should really feel that coming up the back of the leg into the hamstrings. Good, same thing coming back. One more end with a good one here. Good, we got our figure 4 walks. You gotta take a step, pulling one leg up close to your chest. Feel that stretch, open up those hips, good job. Making sure you're staying balanced the whole time. When you do it, I don't want you falling all over the place. Make sure your core is engaged, you're staying stable. Good. We got a walking lunge with a twist over your front leg. Perfect. Good job. All right, there's our dynamic warm-up and movement prep. 8 to 10 minutes there, nice and easy. Getting our joints ready for activity. What do you think? You ready for the exercise?
I'm ready.
All right, so we got 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. While Trey's resting, I'll show you the next exercise. So pay attention. That way when our clock's ready to go, you're ready to get right to the exercise. So, and if you're doing this on your own, Tabata app, easy to use. You can set it up, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off, gives you your updates, and we'll be good to go. So, starting the workout, we're starting in 10 seconds, Trey, get ready. We got those inchworms to flyaways. 3, 2, 1, and go. So we're walking it out, coming down, pull those shoulder blades back, good, walking it forward. As you come down, lift those hands up, squeeze those shoulder blades, well done. Good, keep it up.
Halfway there.
There we go. Go, we got 3 seconds.
1, rest.
Good, finish this rep out. Good, our next exercise is gonna be reverse lunge into a little runner stance. So good step back, when you come up, lock this position in, right back down into it, get the arms involved, opposite arm, opposite leg. 1 and go. Go, we're going 20 seconds each leg. Arm looks good, nice and stable. You notice he's locking that position in at the top. Go, we're gonna switch. There you go. 10 more seconds, keep it up.
Three, two, one, rest.
Go, 20 seconds rest. Our next exercise is gonna be a plank into a push-up plank. We're going down onto the elbows, lock it in, coming back up into the push-up position. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Good, nice and smooth. Try to stop those hips from wiggling from side to side too much. Keep that core locked in. We're gonna switch which arm's going down first right now.
Halfway there.
So switch it up, there you go, good. This is a tough one, keep it up. Three, 2, 1, good. Take a break, 20 seconds of rest. Our next exercise, we're gonna do a little mini pistol squats. Standing on one leg, bending down forward, trying to tap that heel out as far as you can. Nice and controlled, squeezing those glutes. See what you got. 3, 2, 1, and go. Good. We're going 20 seconds each leg. There you go. Make sure you're keeping your heel pressed down into the ground. When you come forward, you're not letting that back heel come up. There you go. So go ahead and switch. Good. All right, our next exercise, we're going with some tricep dips here. If you have a chair, that's fine. I'll show you a modified version to do at home. But Trey's gonna walk his feet out, control it coming down, press it up. If you don't have that, we can do it on the floor too. 1 and start. So we can do little mini tricep dips off the floor just like that. Okay? If you need a little bit more of a challenge, you can try and go off 1 foot. Makes it a little harder.
Halfway there.
If that's too hard, we can bend the knees back. Go ahead and bend one back. There you go. And go rub it out like that. That takes a little bit of pressure off the arms, makes it a little easier. Finish strong. We got 5 seconds.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Good. All right, next one, we're gonna play some hopscotch. We got a sumo squat into single leg landing, right back down. Find a nice rhythm with it. Switching legs. 3, 2, 1, go. Good. As you get comfortable with it, you can even try and speed it up a little bit. Go as soon as you tap that foot down. There it is. Good. I like it. Good work. Keep it up. We're about halfway there.
Halfway there.
Keep it up. Ten more seconds. Getting that heart rate up a little bit. Doing good. 2, 1.
Rest.
Good. Our next one is going to be down the floor in the bridge position. We're going bridge position. We're going to walk the feet out, keeping the butt up off the ground, controlling it coming back. Hop in position. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Good. Little smaller steps on the way out. Good, keep those hips up. Small steps coming back, there you go. Make those hamstrings work. Good, core staying tight, hips staying tight, glutes staying tight. Finish strong.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Go, we're gonna stay in that position. We got our last exercise here. We got the dead bug. You wanna demonstrate it for us here? So starting out, legs at 90 degrees, arms coming straight up, and we're gonna extend opposite arm, opposite leg. Just like that, good.
2.
1 and go. So as you do this, I want you to feel like you're pressing your lower back into the ground. Good, keeping that core engaged is a lot harder than it looks. Nice and slow and controlled. Good job.
Halfway there.
Finish strong, looks good. Press that lower back in the ground, make that core tight.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Good, take a break. We got a 3-minute rest and we're getting right back at it. All right, while you're taking a rest here, getting a drink, just get a pair of shoes or whatever you're gonna use for your cones ready. And we'll roll right into the plyometric workout.
Zach, for participants, how many days a week do you recommend some training right now?
I think following along with this video series, we'll hit a good 3 days a week, which I think especially if you haven't been doing a lot in the last couple weeks or months is a good place to start. I think 3 days a week in this series will have you covered. If you're in great shape and you're finding that this workout isn't particularly challenging and you want to throw that 4th day in, I think that's perfectly fine. But certainly making sure you're giving yourself enough time to rest and recover is absolutely key.
And could you give everybody quickly that that app again? Spell that out for our attendees.
Yeah, so that is the Tabata app. And the app that I use is called the Tabata Timer. That is Tabata and Timer. So the Tabata Timer app, there's a ton of the apps, whether you're on iPhone or Android. If you type in Tabata, there's certainly a bunch of different ones that you can use to accomplish the same goal. But certainly a good tool to use to work on some good high intensity exercise routines that will keep you sweating, but will work on good strengthening stuff at the same time. The plyometric series that is about to come up, definitely a little more fast paced. We're going 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. So make sure you're paying attention, and I'll demonstrate the next exercise in that 10 seconds. So nice fast paced work, definitely challenging. So get ready for a good workout.
Thanks, Zach. This is awesome.
All right, right into our plyometric workout. We got 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. So pay attention. We got 8 exercises. We're gonna be a little more fast paced, a little more high intensity, and Trey's ready to roll. We're gonna start it up in 10 seconds. We got the first one. We're going stutter steps to lateral hop coming back. 2, 1, go, good. There you go, good. We're going for 20 seconds.
Halfway there.
Good. 2, 1, break. You got a 10-second break. Then we're gonna do the same thing coming from the other side. 3, 2, 1, go. Notice that good arm swing. He's got the arms working with his body.
Halfway there.
Looks good, keep it up. Good. If you knock your shoes over, just fix it, get right back into it, no big deal.
1, rest.
Good, I got you. 10 seconds rest, then we're going stutter, and then we're going in and out. So opposite leg,
3, 2,
show us how it's done.
go.
Good. Let's go again, notice those arms swing. Keep it up, finish strong. 3, 2, 1.
Rest.
Good. We're gonna spread those shoes out. We got skater hops.
2, 1, go.
Tap in that shoe if you can. Good, stick that landing, nice and controlled.
Halfway there.
No rush. Good.
3, 2, 1, rest.
Good, now we're gonna stack those shoes. We got a burpee jumping down, then lateral hop jumping over the foot of the shoes.
Go.
Good, burpee, lateral hop, good. Good, keep it up.
Halfway there.
Finish strong.
2, 1, rest.
Good. 10 seconds of rest, and we're doing quick lateral hops. Over. 3, 2, 1, go. Go. We want to work on quick feet, but at the same time, form and control matters way more. So take your time with it. Make sure you're sticking to movements. Looking good, Trey.
1,
Good. Leave the shoes like that. We're going forward and back hops. Sticking that landing, jumping back over. 3, 2, 1. Good, try and clear those shoes, good. Good, take your time with it. If you need to land and gather yourself, that's completely fine. Finish strong. Good job. Shoes going back into this position. We got in and out, sticking it with one leg. Got 2 more exercises. You got it. Finish strong. There you go.
1.
Last one. We got same concept, but now we're gonna tap the inside foot down. 2, 1. Good, finish strong. Last exercise here. Quick feet. Get that inside foot down. Tap that inside. There you go. Good, keep it going. Keep those arms moving.
2, 1. Rest.
Good job. Take a break. Take a minute break. Then we're going into our cool down.
Zach, Trey did great work with that, didn't he? I'm
Trey did great, absolutely.
for the first time, struggles with it a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about the form for just a couple seconds and how
Yeah,
you
I'd
practice
say
with it?
definitely focus if you're doing that at home, and if you try and do it again a second time, form matters way more than how fast you're going. So focus on that form, especially your first couple times doing it, and you'll see that plyometric series a couple more times throughout the series. So as you do it, focus on form. Absolutely can't stress that enough. And the speed and the agility will come in time. Just definitely hammer down that form to start. Got this. All right, we got our cool down. Crucial part to any exercise routine. Gonna make sure we're setting our muscles up to recover and make sure we're not increasing our chances for injury. So, first thing, we're gonna start with a little bit of a flow. We're going into a downward dog. So, we're gonna bring those feet flat. There you go, pressing those hips up towards the sky. If you can, feel like you're gonna press the heels towards the ground. Hold that for a second. Good, and then we're gonna come down almost into a push-up position, come all the way down, flip those feet over to the toes, press up, extend through the back. Feel that good stretch here. We're gonna hold this for 5, 4. Good, and then we're gonna rock back into child's pose. Stretch out this way, good. 3, 2, 1, right back up into that downward dog. So flip those feet over, good, walk those hands back a little bit. Good, extend those hips up to the sky as high as you can. Good, rock it down to the push-up position. Press it up. Good. 3, 2, 1, rocking it back into child's pose. Good, let's do one more round of that. Good. Press those hips up, try and press those heels back into the ground. Feel that good stretch. 3, 2, 1. Dropping it down, extend through the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go, rocking it back into child's pose. 3, 2, 1. Good, from this position, kick one foot forward, going right into a pigeon pose. So, extending one foot out in front, straight back with that other leg, good. And we're gonna use the hands for now. And you should be feeling a good stretch coming right back deep into that hip. Chest up high. There you go, and if you can extend, feel okay? Go, we're gonna hold this. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. We're gonna switch. Back leg coming back straight, good. Chest up tall. Use the hands if you need to. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, feel free to try and lift up. Try and extend up this way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, good. We're going into a kneeling lunge position. One foot out in front. Good, we're gonna try and stretch our hip flexor on that left leg. So up nice and tall, arms above head, and we're gonna rock. Good, feel a good stretch coming up that left side. Make sure that knee is not coming way out past the toes. If you're coming out way out like that, you're doing too much. Just nice controlled, hip stable. Good, and switch. Good. Hold 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right into it. We're gonna lay down on our back. One of my favorite stretches, the pretzel stretch. So both legs straight, good. You can rock one leg over. We're gonna grab this with this inside hand, bend this leg back. Good. So goal is to feel like you're pressing this shoulder down towards the ground. Feel that stretch in the mid back. We're also getting a quad stretch on the left leg and our stretch on the right leg. 5 more seconds. Good, deep breath in. Exhale. Good, let's flip over to the other side. So let's bring this leg back a little more. Bring this leg up in that 90 degrees, good. Quad a little tight, huh?
Yeah.
Good, focus on that good deep breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let yourself relax into that stretch a little deeper. One more good deep breath. Exhale, fall into that stretch. Good. All right, we're gonna stand on up. Last one, we're gonna open up our chest and our shoulders a little bit. This is our reverse prayer stretch. So, if you can, try and connect those arms behind the back. The goal is to get those palms together, but that's very tough to do. So, pressing those hands together, extend through the chest. Feel that stretch in the shoulders and the chest, up nice and tall. Good deep breath in. Exhale. Press those hands together. 2 more good deep breaths. Go, 1 more. Good job. There we are, workout 1 of the 8-week series complete. And I hope everyone enjoyed it. That certainly was a challenging plyometric series for our first workout, but definitely a good gauge to kind of see where you're at conditioning wise and where to improve. And we'll go from there. Any closing thoughts, Dr. Deitch?
Zach, that was a phenomenal demo. Trey did a great job. Special thanks to Trey Pridgeon from York Suburban for doing that for us today. You know, you demonstrated for us 3 key components to every workout. Can you just touch on a little bit on the importance of those dynamic warm-ups and then total body and the cool down? You know, a lot of us, when we're in season, going to practices, getting to fields, we sometimes shortcut 1 or maybe even 2 of those 3. And we know that's not great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I go through phases where I can struggle with myself, you know, taking the time to properly warm up or cool down, but absolutely so important. And one of the most, and cool down especially, probably one of the most underrated aspects to any exercise routine. So certainly can't stress that enough, how important it is. And following along with this 8-week series, you'll certainly get a taste of that, of how important it is to take the time to prep your muscles for activity and really just prepare your joints and your muscles before you go into competition. And then certainly the cool down aspect makes a world of difference in recovery and is going to get you back on the playing field much more efficiently and much safer, and just going to help you feel better in general. So absolutely a crucial part to any exercise routine and before and after competition. So certainly can't stress that enough.
So Beth really taught us a lot in her discussion presentation today. What would you say to our athletes right now about their post-workout routine? Maybe touch on a little bit of hydration, maybe a little fuel for tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And you can parlay right from what Beth talked about. I think it's important. I think she talked about it too. It's important to get those nutrients in as soon after the workout, as soon as you can. That I think, I know she talked about it last night, but the window doesn't close completely. So if you can't get some good protein and some good nutritional foods into you right away, that's okay. But if it's going to be a couple hours, make sure you're getting some type of snack. And you kind of mentioned it with the hydration too. Key part, make sure you're staying hydrated. Certainly going to help the recovery, and make sure you're not sore tomorrow and the next day.
So I just want to reach out to the audience. If you do have any questions for Zach, feel free to enter those using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. Zach, tell us a little bit, the audience, a little bit about your background. You know, a lot of our athletes that may be on this call might have an interest in going into a field that connects them to sports medicine. And certainly in our program, we have a lot of professionals. You being an exercise physiologist, can you speak to your expertise a little bit?
Yes. So, well, another shout out to Beth for throwing in the Penn State reference in her bio there, because I'm a Penn State grad myself. So went to Penn State for exercise physiology and certainly got a great education there. And then just within working at WellSpan, I've been with WellSpan for 8 years and had a lot of experience of working with athletes to older adults to really any age group. So, and then getting the opportunity to work with our sports teams of our contracted schools. So yeah, that's definitely where my passion is at. So any of the athletes that are doing this workout, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and hope to see you on here in the future, and make sure you're telling your friends about it as well, because that was just one workout of many. So we got a good thing going here for the next 8 weeks.
Zach, thank you so much for your time and expertise. And audience out there, you know, together we started building your foundation of fitness today. And as Zach said, this is the beginning of our series. Next week's focus is going to be building the mind as well. It's focused on your mental health. And Ed Briercheck is going to be our presenter on both Monday and Tuesday of next week. You know, there are 3 things that we can work on together right now to help continue to build this foundation for you to move into your next season with your next team as we pass through this COVID time. So the first one is to establish a schedule, and no worries there. We've got that taken care of for you. So we'll see you on Friday afternoon. The next total body workout is at 4 o'clock on Friday. You need to have a plan as well. So we have that covered too. Zach and his team of exercise physiologists and athletic trainers who work in our WellFit program at WellSpan are going to take you through an 8-week program to get you ready for your upcoming season. And the third thing we'd ask you to do is get a partner. We all know that training partners or teams really help us to excel in our sports and help push us in our own training regimens. So please consider inviting a friend to our Friday session. And how you can help a friend sign up, this is what you'd want them to do. We'll ask you to go to www.wellspan.org/events /search. And when they get to that screen, on the left side of the screen, it's going to ask for a keyword. And if you type in sports medicine on that line and hit enter, that will take you to a registration link, just like you had for your individual sessions. So if you could do that for us, that'd be great. I think we all excel when we work together as a team, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday. So thank you again for joining us this afternoon. Take care.